Chapter 71. Mr. Mo returns. In the middle of a secluded valley, Gu Hai and his group stood quietly in front of a giant grave. The giant grave did not have a monument, and if it wasn't for the crowd seriously saluting the giant grave, it would be hard to imagine that this small hill was a grave. Long Wanqing, Mu Chunfeng, and the more than 2,000 tree people had stopped crying at this moment, but sadness was still written on their faces. All right, this valley, it's quite secluded. With the destruction of the Love Flower Valley, this place is able to let the Love Flower grandmother sleep for a long time. Gu Hai turned his head towards the crowd of tree people and advised, "Many thanks, Master." The more than 2,000 tree people knelt down together towards Gu Hai. The recognition of Master at this moment was not only because of Love Flower grandmother's original request, but there was also a wave of gratitude. A sincere gratitude. If it wasn't for Gu Hai, the entire clan would have perished. If it wasn't for Gu Hai, Grandmother Love Flower wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Get up. Unfortunately, your Danchin is. Gu Hai sighed slightly. Master, you don't need to be like this. My Danchin is ruined. But we still have offspring in the future. The offspring's Danchin will be fine. A tree man shook his head and said, That's also true. Living is the most important thing. Gu Hai nodded. Actually, their Danchin may not be unable to recover. Mu Chunfeng frowned. Oh, Gu Hai looked at Mu Chunfeng doubtfully. I've seen it in the valley before. Senior brother. Do you still remember? At that time, there was a tree man who had his Danchin wasted and was later patched back up. Only that he made a fool of himself and went out to wander round and died under a soldier's blade. Mu Chunfeng looked towards a tree man, Huang Fu Chouch. That tree man's eyes lit up. Yes, back then, Huang Fu Chouch didn't know what method he used, but he mended that tree man's Danchin. Mu Chunfeng nodded. Huang Fu Chouch, will he help us? The crowd of tree people frowned. He will. Grandma even nearly had her entire clan exterminated in order to save him. Mu Chunfeng clenched his fists and said, But, Gu Hai, you said that Huang Fu Chouch had evil intentions and lied to me before. Long Wanqing looked towards Gu Hai. Gu Hai, however, sighed slightly and shook his head. Huang Fu Chouch might not have lied to us. I told you like that earlier because I was worried that you would reveal your flaws in front of King Lu Yong. What? Long Wanqing's face changed. Gu Hai nodded affirmatively. Then, are you saying that King Lu Yong killed my mother? He really is the murderer. Long Wanqing revealed a look of grief and anger. There's a 90% chance, Gu Hai nodded. How could this be? Long Wanqing covered her head, so confused for a moment. All right, let's go find Huang Fu Chouch. If we can help the tree man mend his Danchin. It couldn't be better. Mu Chunfeng, Grandmother Love Flower is in new mourning. From now on, this group of tree people, I'll labor you more. Gu Hai looked towards Mu Chunfeng. In that case, very good. Gu Hai nodded. Muo Lu City, the newly built Liu Yang King's mansion. In the study, a group of strategists stood in two columns, and in the center stood Broken Army and Chu Chen. King Lu Yong sat behind his desk and looked at the two of them coldly. Say it again, King Lu Yong said coldly. Your Highness, I saw with my own eyes that Chu Chen was going to kill people. Killed Gu Hai, dug out his liver and orifices, and even gave the order to exterminate them. Broken Army respectfully said in a deep voice. King Lu Yang's fingers gently tapped on the desk, if he was thinking, his eyes coldly looking at the two of them. After a while, King Lu Yong said in a deep voice, It should be that Gu Hai deliberately provoked you to find an excuse for him to escape. King Lu Yong characterized the matter, and Broken Army stopped speaking. Yes, your Majesty is wise, Chu Chen said excitedly. HMPH. King Lu Yong let out a cold snort. Chu Chen immediately felt a jolt in his head, as if it were a thunderbolt. Why did Gu Hai provoke you? It's because although he, Gu Hai, didn't want to come to the royal residence, he didn't have an excuse to leave. You gave him the excuse. King Lu Yong coldly looked at Chu Chen. Me. Chu Chen's face flushed with embarrassment. If you didn't make a move, how dare he, Gu Hai, not come to my royal residence? By making a move and giving him a reason to leave, you made me lose a great kin master and a great general. King Lu Yang coldly looked at Chu Chen. My subordinate knows that I was wrong. Chu Chen didn't dare to raise his head. King Lu Yong looked at him coldly. A strategist on the side spoke. Your Majesty, although Chu Chen is at fault, he is justifiable. The threat of the ancient sea is too intimidating. Chu Chen is also trying to protect himself. Yes, Your Highness, that Gu Hai heart is not in my royal residence. Even if he came, he would have left. King Lu Yong took a deep breath and suppressed the fire in his heart. Indeed, Gu Hai's decompositions were formidable. But that was all, and secondly, great formations. There were quite a few strong people under his own command who could set up formations. Chu Chen had defected to himself, so he couldn't punish him and chill the hearts of the other defectors. King Lu Yang was about to use the slope to make Chu Chen's merits match his faults, when suddenly a voice rang out from outside the study. Your Highness, Mr. Mo and Prince In have returned. An attendant's voice came. Mr. Mo has returned. Pass it on. No, this king will personally go to welcome him. King Lu Yang's previous anger instantly disappeared cleanly and stood up. Whew. Chu Chen at the side let out a long breath. The king's anger finally subsided, and Mr. Mo's return was too timely. There's no need for the king to raise an army. My subordinate is back. The sound of laughter immediately came from outside the study. But it was Mo Yike who quickly stepped into the study with Dukan. At this moment, Mo Yike returned, but there was no one to stop him. Greetings, Mo. The group of strategists immediately bowed respectfully to Mo Yike. Mo Yike entered the study and gave a respectful salute to King Lu Yong. Greetings to the king. Greetings, Grandpa Wong. Young Master and also bowed respectfully to King Lu Yong. But King Lu Yong didn't pay any attention to this first grandson at all. Instead, he walked out of the desk and very grandly picked up Mo Yikai and said, Mr. Mo is polite. This king said that you can see me without any courtesy. Courtesy cannot be abolished. Mo Yike shook his head and laughed. Young Master and at the side shrunk his head. Grandpa personally came over from behind the desk to assist Mr. Mo. It was evident that it was not an ordinary regard. Mr. I saw the stuff. Mr. went out. It was really a handful. Mr. This trip to Silver Moon City. Everything is still going well, right? King Lu Yong was concerned. Smooth, all okay. However, this time, Silver Moon City, but encountered an amazing talent. The king, if you can get this person to help, will be like a tiger adding wings. This person, my subordinate had to recommend. Your Highness should do everything in your power to obtain this great talent to return to your heart, Mr. Mo said with a hint of excitement. I have concluded that he is still in Yingju. We must find him, Mo Yike said eagerly. Gu Hai, King Lu Yang was slightly stunned. In the study, a group of strategists also changed their faces, and the strategist who had pleaded for Chu Chen earlier immediately shrunk his head and retreated to the side. Only Chu Chen, at this moment, had his mouth wide open. What? Could it be that the king has seen him? Mo Yike said in surprise. King Lu Yong gave Chu Chen a hard look, then turned to Mo Yike with a deep breath. Sir, you said that Gu Hai is a world-shattering talent. How world-shattering? How does it compare to Mr. 10 times better than me? Mo Yike said with incomparable certainty. Chu Chen's face went black. King Lu Yong, however, frowned. Impossible. It's impossible for anyone to beat Mr. You're exaggerating, aren't you? Beats me 10 times, or even dozens of times, Mo Yike said with renewed certainty. Although King Lu Yong still knew that Mo Yike was exaggerating, but, for Mo, such a proud person, to esteem an outsider so much, it could be seen that this outsider's ability was strong. Gu Hai, is he really that capable? Your Highness, you've met Gu Hai. That's great. Your Highness, no matter what, you must get Gu Hai. If you get this person, Your Highness can have no worries in the future. As long as I can get Gu Hai to return to my heart, my subordinate is willing to offer his position to him. Where is he now? Mr. Mo said with a happy face. Chu Chen blackened his face, wanting to cry. King Lu Yong once again looked at Chu Chen with hatred and shook his head. Missed the mark. Alas, what happened? Mo Yike said in surprise. A schemer to the side stepped forward and respectfully described everything that had happened earlier. That was the 28th heaven and earth vertical and horizontal formation, ambush on 10 fronts. Mr. Gu, this Gu Hai really can't hide its glory anywhere. Mo Yike revealed a hint of awe. When he looked at Chu Chen, a wave of anger flashed through Mo Yike's eyes, but, in the end, he didn't say anything. After all, Chu Chen's presence was still needed to appease the other strong people who had come to cast their votes. Sir, would you be overstating things? King Lu Yong was once again doubtful. Here's the ancient sea information I've collected. I've sorted it out. Your Highness, please take a look. Mo Yike flipped his hand and took out a stack of information. The streamlined resume of the ancient sea was handed over to King Lu Yong. King Lu Yong carefully looked at it, looking at one, handing out one, and letting a group of strategists pass it around. Looking at it, everyone's brows were deeply locked. Hiss, the sound of a group of strategists sucking in cold air resounded in the study. Hiss, the plan to exterminate Song. King Lu Yang's pupils abruptly shrunk. Gu Hai's resume was passed on, and a group of strategists also exclaimed in shock. Alas, Mo Yike sighed slightly. Your Highness, Gu Hai, this person is incredibly shrewd and has seen Huang Fu Chouch, so he must have guessed quite a bit about Your Highness's grand plan. That's why he refused to enter my king's mansion and borrowed Chu Chen's hand, but it's to make amends to you, in order to not let you take your anger out on him and his family. A refusal, but also so polite. Alas, letting Gu Hai go this time, it will be hard to undo it again. Alas, Mo Yike sighed slightly. Your Highness, I didn't expect it. Chu Chen shouted in shock at this moment. Boom. King Lu Yang kicked Chu Chen to the ground. His face revealed a hideous ferocity. As long as Gu Hai entered the royal residence, then he was pulled on board, and there was no chance to get off even if he wanted to. But at this moment, he was forced away by Chu Chen. How could King Lu Yong not be angry? A silence fell in the study. King Lu Yong hatefully looked at Chu Chen. What merit and fault? This time's fault was not enough for even 100 merits. Chu Chen curled up on the ground, not daring to resist. Mo Yike, as a strategist, could only help analyze. All decisions still needed to come from King Lu Yong. After a while, King Lu Yong only suppressed his anger towards Chu Chen, but he still looked at Chu Chen with an unfavorable expression. Ancient Sea, the Song extermination plan, a dozen or so chain schemes executed at the same time, overthrowing a country in the middle of a laugh. If this person can't be used for me, he can't be used for others either. King Lu Yong eventually spoke with a coldness in his eyes. Your Highness, what do you want to do? Mo Yike's face changed as if he had guessed something. Mr. Mo, I know about this matter, so don't mind it, King Lu Yong faintly said. Your Majesty, don't, talents are rare, maybe there's still a chance, Mo Yike anxiously advised. I said, Mr. Mo, leave it alone. King Lu Yong shook his head and said, Me, alas, fine. Mo Yike smiled slightly bitterly. All right, you guys go back. Ao Shun broke open Divine, Foothill City. There are still a lot of things to do. King Lu Yong said in a deep voice. Yes, the crowd answered and slowly retreated. King Lu Yong was not left alone, and Mr. Mo and young Master An were not left behind either. King Lu Yong was the only one in the study, and after a while, King Lu Yong said in a deep voice, "Send the Unshengren to meet me." Yes. It didn't take long. The Unshengren arrived in the study. "Your Majesty, you're looking for me." The Unshengren looked towards King Lu Yang. "I need you to help me kill someone," King Lu Yong said in a deep voice. "Oh, this is the king's third request." The Unsang man looked at King Lu Yong. "Not bad. 3 requests now. Then is the king going to honor his promise and return Long Xiao Yu's 3 souls back to me?" The unliving man said in a deep voice.